Hey, welcome to Waking Up to Win.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Chad.
And this is your space for real estate motivation, mindset, and the kind of coaching that pushes you from stuck to a top producer.
We are all about helping agents work on their business, not just run ragged in it.
And we believe there is more than enough room at the top for everyone to win.
Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to another special episode of Waking Up to Win, the podcast. Super excited today. Today's interview is with a up-and-coming rock star loan officer in the St. Louis region, and his name is Drew Quinones. Say hi, Drew.
You are one of the best at actually pronouncing my last name. Even
Really?
my father-in-law struggles pronouncing my last name. And it's truly, the joke is it's actually truly Quinones. Like that's the Hispanic way to say
Quinones, right.
But
the W after the Q.
I say Quinones because I am Hispanic, but I joke I'm about as Hispanic as Taco Bell. So it's like, it's not totally Hispanic.
Yeah. Hispanic roots.
Yes.
Heritage.
Technically a quarter Hispanic.
It's
so
there, right?
I could put it on a resume.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. Welcome. I'm
Thank you.
so excited to talk to you today. This happened randomly. First of all, I want everybody to know that we are totally unprepared for this interview. Yes. And so we're going to see how it goes. I'm super excited about the conversation. I think that you have a really good head on your shoulders, and I don't think you, think that you do, which is odd because a lot of people perceive you as egotistical or whatever, I've heard. And I know that you know that. And it's like, that's not really you.
Right.
I know that's not you. I can see that. And I love that. So my first question for you is, you do have a lot of confidence. And I have a lot of confidence. We have that in common. And so one of the things that I always think about is quotes or sayings that have resonated with me that maybe I keep to myself most of the time, but they really drive my life, right? Curious, what's the number one quote for you?
Oh, my
for
goodness.
That? What's your favorite motivational quote you've ever heard?
I have this super goofy, I had this rock that was always on my dresser growing up, and it was more of just like a paperweight. It was just like, real leaders are ordinary people with extraordinary determination. And I just always thought about that. Like, I always wanted to be a leader, but I am a super high I, and I struggle with being a major people pleaser. I want everybody to think, because I truly have like the best intentions. I want everybody to win. I'm super competitive, and I do get jealous, but I love watching people crush it. One thing I always focused on that my dad really instilled in me is like, what are people saying about you in a room that you're not in? And that was kind of my thing. No matter how much we're winning or how, who we are as a person, like the true meaning of who you are as a person is like, what are people saying about you when you're not in that room? And I want, in terms of like that confidence, that just comes with what are we doing in our job. Like, I'm very confident with what we do in our process, as a loan officer. I know, us in real estate, and that's what kind of builds that. And we're doing everything with a good intention. Yeah. And I'm trying, a quote that I'm also trying to remind myself is, I'm not the main character in everybody else's life. So me being a people pleaser, people aren't thinking about me as much as they,
as much as you think they are.
That is for sure.
Yeah. I resonate with that. Like that's honing. So one of the things that I do regularly in a, just check in with myself way or meditation sort of ritual is that I ask myself the question, if my eulogy was written today, what would be in it? And it's a great way to look at how is the world perceiving me in a void of what is it that I'm doing, right? It doesn't really matter what I'm doing right now to be able to answer that question. And I feel like that quote is spot on for that. Leaders are... One more time for
ordinary people, just with extraordinary determination, and it could be spun in so many different ways, of just, we're all ordinary people. We're all just trying to get by. Truly love thy neighbor, and stay very true and very humble with what you're doing. And I want to, I truly find the good in everybody, and I know there's a lot of people struggling with a lot of stuff personally, and this business brings out a lot of negativity as well. But I just love having truly as many friends as possible because I want everybody to win. I love watching people win and rooting them on.
I'm gonna coin a term for you. My perception of you, just so you know what people are thinking about you. I'm gonna share it with you right now.
Should I get comfortable? Is this going to be fun?
No, it's one word. You are one of the best coaches I've ever met in my life.
Oh, I'm a terrible coach.
You're not.
I'd be a horrible coach.
No, you're not, though. So
I love the idea.
Take that with you and think about it. And because if I was writing your eulogy today, that word would definitely be in it.
No, I think the word coaches is funny because in my eyes of coaching, it's like, I always see those jokes on social. It's like somebody has a good, a real estate agent closed a little bit of business and now they're a coach, or now they're selling a course on how to be successful. And that's what I always think about coaching. And it is funny you actually say that because when I played baseball, I always remember my coach wanted me to come back and coach. And it, not necessarily the skill, not necessarily, what it was just how well I actually connect with people. And that's why we've done so well with our business. It's not necessarily the guideline knowledge in my business that puts me over the top and has us growing. It's how well and how comfortable I make people feel through the process. And that is probably why even coaching makes sense for you. Or that word in a sense makes sense.
Connection, coaching are two of our core values at Realty One Group. And that's, I'm sure, why you fold in nicely into our conversation with our agents. So I love that.
And now you know.
So, loan officer, right? Got to know you a little bit. You're a loan officer. So, as a loan officer, what is the one thing that realtors need to know about the loan process?
I will say the loan process will go as well as you move that referral over. And truly like setting the expectations that this is our team, this is the person that I work with, putting them with the right person for who, fits those personality traits the best because, you guys as real estate agents are the true driving factor of this entire process. And I know you found the house and you feel like you're done. And I know you guys don't. I know there's a lot of paperwork, but I know a lot of people feel like they're done and we're now just getting to the closing table. But you guys are still the voice and the captain of the ship. And I think as a real estate agent, you need to be working with lenders. We talked about this earlier, not just somebody that's a vendor or a solicitor to you, a true partner and a peer, somebody that that you can call and you guys can have a personal connection. You guys can talk about your kids, but you guys have the same goal because when this gets very transactionary and this process does, you can feel the stress, you can feel the desperation, you can feel the uncertainty because there is a lack of communication. And I tell real estate agents this, we might not be the best fit, but what I believe that your loan officer, your lender partner needs to know and have locked in for you is be able to manage your leads so that you can go out and find more business. We talked about this earlier. It's not, make sure that you are working with a lender that is not just going to crush that quick 20% down, 800 credit score conventional loan. I joke Quick Trip can do that loan. They're going to do it just fine.
Or Rocket Mortgage.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly. But there's so many people uncertain. They don't know when they need to purchase. I do a lot of studying of psychology of sales, and a lot of the questions that we ask are geared towards, for
moving through the process.
Correct. And a big, like, I'll use this example. I think real estate agents need to be asking this a lot. Don't ask when you're planning to move or when you plan to do this because it puts that perception of like, I need to answer that correctly. That sounds like a question that there's only a correct answer. And a lot of people don't want to be judged. So it's simple changing that question of when are you hoping to be in a new home? Now when I'm hoping, that's when you actually get the true answer. That's as soon as possible. Or, hey, we're hoping to be in by Christmas. Like now there's no wrong answer, but now you understand the time frame, and I think real estate agents, both on their partnership with lenders, like you said, but also their sales skills. They just really need to buff that up and truly understand the psychology of sales.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And actually, I couldn't have said that better myself, if I'm being honest with you, which is not something that comes out of my mouth very often, is it, Aaron?
Eye roll.
But I couldn't agree more. I think that's so important in that. And for realtors, what I'm hearing out there, I've gone down this coaching analogy, if you will, in my head. I think that the client hires the realtor to be the head coach. Mm-hmm. And every head coach that you know out there in the world has a team of what behind them?
Right.
Assistant coaches
right.
that have the same psychological theories, the same management techniques, all of those things. And so it's so important when you're finding that referral partner to understand that beyond just, you know, we had this conversation a little while ago, beyond just the accolades of the loan officer, which is not something I see coming from you very often, even though I know it exists,
Sure.
right? Like, for instance, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm quoting off of my memory from a little while ago, but you were the third highest producing loan officer in your branch.
Yeah.
Of how many loan officers?
I'll have to see. We have some that are like outside sales, but it could be close to like 40 or 50 loan officers, which is really cool. We have a lot of really good top producers that have been in it for a while, and they're crushing it. They're not, you know, I struggle with the accolades, but I also struggle with, like, you know, just like you, what are we doing this for?
Yeah.
You know, it's fun doing real estate, being in the real estate industry, but we do this to, you know, provide for our families and let people know that this isn't a hobby. This is a job.
It's your job.
You know, I know we're having fun. We do a lot of fun events and stuff like that, but it is a job, and I have to provide for my freeloading family.
I do not provide for my freeloading family because my husband does that for me.
Sure.
I get to freeload,
Hey,
which is, you know.
I'm jealous. I'm 100%
But
jealous.
I'm very appreciative of that also, of him. Like, so I'm very well aware that if my husband did not hold down the 9 to 5 regular, I would not be able to be doing what I'm doing in the real estate industry right now. So, that's cool. But what is going on in real estate? What headline in the mortgage industry has resonated with you in the last 2 to 3 weeks the most? Aaron usually gives us the headlines, but I'm curious, as a loan officer, what headline has resonated with you and why?
Pretty easy. I mean, you guys have seen everybody, and I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this, but it's interest rates are under 6%. You've seen the 5.98.
Okay, good. That's the one I would have picked too.
Super easy.
Let's digest it.
Low-hanging fruit. And what's tricky about that is, you know, I use this phrase, it's your credit profile, okay? And your credit profile is what presents an interest rate to you. You know, so if you have a 720 credit score, that changes your interest rate. If you are doing a conventional FHA loan, that changes your interest rate. If, depending on how much you're putting down as a down payment, that changes it. So when we see these headlines that rates are in the 5s, a lot of times that means that we're talking in a loan amount that is really, really low with an 800 credit score, somebody putting 30% down. And that's just because for a lot of factors, and I'll hit on it in just a second, but you have a lot of people that are, you know, we've seen home prices, and I have a lot of, you know, my average loan amount is pushing 270, 280. You know, and what that means is I'm doing a lot of like $300,000 purchases, putting 5-10% down, let's say. But in that case, those loan amounts are a little bit higher. We're actually seeing higher interest rates for higher loan amounts. And, you know, why is that? The reason for that is because you might see an interest rate at 6.5, let's say. I'm totally just throwing a number out there. For them, for it to make sense when they refinance, they might only need an interest rate to get to 6%. They might only need to go 0.5% down because that might save them $150, $200 in some situations.
Per month.
Correct.
All right.
Well, and what these investors know, and when I say investors, that doesn't mean like people buying homes. What that means is we send loans out to these different servicers, these different companies. We send it to a XYZ servicer, let's call it. That's who you're making your payment to. Well, XYZ's servicer knows that interest rates could be moving down, and it they could very well refinance, and now we would refinance them and it would go to a different company. They weren't able to make as much interest as they wanted to because they only had the loan for a short period. That's why their interest rates are a little bit higher. Whereas something with a low loan amount at 6.5, we would maybe need an interest rate into like the low fives for it to make sense to refinance, because only 0.5%, you're only going to save $30-$40 a month, for what the costs are. It doesn't make sense. So that's where kind of the circle around on like that headline. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it because just like the word, I mean, bad press is still good press. Like people are still reaching out to me. People are still reaching out to you guys if like rates are low. They're thinking about selling. They're thinking about buying. It's amazing. It just sometimes gets frustrating when I'm like, hey, your interest rate's at 6.2 or 6.3, or you have a 640 credit score and you want to still put a low down payment where maybe closer to mid or high sixes, and it's easy for me to explain that, that's not anything that's too painful. It's easy to kind of explain and help guide them to get their credit score up or whatnot. But like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with that headline, but for the most part, it is true. We're at 4-year lows. We haven't been this low since 2022. And I'm hoping what I guess is if we can get a little bit more consistent with interest rates in the fives, it's going to push out a lot of sellers. They're going to feel a lot more comfortable moving.
I would agree with that. And my follow-up question for you is, as a realtor, how can I help you combat that headline and that understanding with the client before they get to you? Because at the end of the day, most of our viewers are realtors. They're not, clients or home buyers, and they might be randomly here and there. But I think that's the important, as a loan officer that combats that headline daily in your business, how can we as a realtor community help you set the stage so that's an easier conversation to have with the client?
Two things. One, this is pretty weighted and this is pretty high level, but if you really want to be an advocate and be somebody that goes above for your clients, this is something you guys can work out. It's called a blended rate. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are at 2-3%. Let's say you're at 3.5% because you refinance when rates were low and you have a really low monthly payment. Well, what we can look at is because rates were so low, your equity built, okay? Your home appreciated significantly. When we're looking at purchasing that next home as a real estate agent, you can almost say, hey, what's your blended rate? And they'd be like, I have no idea what that means. Like a adjustable rate, I have a fixed rate. What do you mean? What that blended rate is what is your car, what interest rate do you have on your car? How much do you owe on credit cards? Do you have student loans? Do you have something else? Well, those all have different interest rates on them with balances that you are paying significant amount of money on. Credit card debt obviously is through the roof. I mean, everybody has it. So what we do is we have a calculator that will pull in your credit card debt, pull in your card loans. That gives us what's called a blended rate, and that might be at 5.3 because of everything that you're paying on that monthly payment. Well, if I told you we're at 5.3 and your new purchase is at 5.9, that feels a lot better, because what we would do is when you are selling your home, we are using some of that equity to pay off some of your credit cards, to pay off some of your car loan if you need to. And now, instead of moving from a $1,500 a month payment to a $2,500 a month payment, what people forget is that $1,500 a month payment that you were making on your mortgage, you also had a $500 car payment. You also had $400 on your credit cards. You had a $200 here. So those payments are sometimes similar. And now we have a new home. So that's that blended rate. But to kind of simplify everything, what real estate agents need to be doing, it's what I have just shifted my entire focus is when you are talking with a client, ask them what is a monthly payment that's comfortable for you and your family on your next purchase or going forward, because nothing else matters. We'll hear it all the time. How many, I don't want to go above $400,000 on a home. Okay, well, if I told you that monthly payment's $200 less than your max monthly payment, why would we not go to $425, $430? How many more homes are available in that range? So again, it's just kind of going back to the sales skills. I think real estate agents do lack a lot of really quality sales skills in terms of helping be an advocate and an advisor for their clients, so that it's not just talking about that new kitchen, that new bathroom. And I'm not hating on agents. I think they're amazing. I think they are growing in ways that I've never even seen before. And I love partnering with really high quality agents that want to, instead of being the MLS queen or, knowing exactly how to price something. I think the best sales skills that people are seeing right now are making their clients feel comfortable and feel like they're with somebody that is truly educated in the industry.
And I think that I'm going to take that one step even further and kind of summarize from a realtor seat what I just heard you say to me as a realtor, right? We have to remember when we're talking to our clients that we're not just talking about buying a home. We're talking about building long-lasting and life-changing wealth for somebody. And we're guiding them in that process. And that is our job at the end of the day. And I think a lot of realtors forget that.
Yeah. Takes the transactionary feeling out of it. And it's why, we're building the rapport as personal, for personal reasons, but now we're also an advisor and they'll never leave you. They will feel more than comfortable forever.
Yeah. Agree. Could not agree more. We like to wrap up this podcast with a section we call What the Floop.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Floop.
Floop. Does that stand for something?
What the floop?
What the floop?
So here's the question.
Okay.
In our relationship together, since you've met me, what is one time where I did something that your brain said, what the floop was that about?
Oh, God. I need to...
No judgment. I want to know. I'm curious.
I think I've told you about this.
Okay, tell me again.
It was after the YPN event, maybe, at Waterbury.
Okay.
And you said something of, like, I would never use USA. I would never, like, you said something about me, like, I don't think I would use you, and it wasn't, like, mean. It was just very, and I don't know if you've ever heard this. You can be a little blunt sometimes.
No.
Yeah. And it was just so, like, it just caught me off. I think I had only been in the business a few years, and I looked up to you. I thought you had a great, before I really got to know you.
Yeah, before you knew I was right there next to you at the exact same stage of my business.
Yeah.
Right?
And no, I mean, you were just, in my opinion, you were big time. You had so many great friends, and everybody, had all great things to say about Chad. And I was just like, wow, it was like a total knock. And I don't think you, like I said, you weren't being malicious about it. And I think it was also, you just had either bad experiences with USA and I love my company. I have nothing bad to say. I think it was just a lot of people have bad experiences with loan officers because they are either transactionary or don't understand the process or don't build the right relationships with lender or agents. And I was like, this guy will never be my friend. This guy I will never feel, and then I think it's just, the layers came back and we had so much more in common. And I think it was just, you had a perception of sometimes new, not like young, but like newer loan officers in your sphere because you are a very loyal person and you really, dive deep into relationships. And I think over the years, we've just realized that I am actually an absolute stud and you couldn't resist, hanging out with me. So
I can't disagree with that at all. I just can't. I really can't.
I couldn't be humble this entire podcast. I had to get something.
I am sorry that I was so blunt with you at the moment.
I loved it. It gave me so much motivation to just like, you know what? I don't think this guy even knows what we're about, and
I didn't.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's the truth.
It was actually exactly what I needed. As silly as it sounds, like you're never going to get better when people pump your tires. I think in anything, you need people to humble you and let you know when you could be a better person, because that's when people truly grow.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Well, this has been so much fun.
I'm so glad you had me on. This is exciting.
If people want to get a hold of you, talk to you, maybe get a coffee to see who you are on a deeper level, use you as a loan officer, get some advice.
Instagram. Shoot me a message on Instagram, Drew Q Home Loans. We post a lot of stuff. We do a lot of events for real estate agents. I love partnering with agents and helping them grow. And whether we work together or we don't, I'd still love to chat and just see what your goals are. I think that's amazing.
Follow-up question for you.
Yeah.
Are you subscribed to our podcast right now?
Yes. You want me to show you?
No, I'm just curious.
I am.
Awesome.
I don't listen to as much as I should. Sometimes
I don't care how much you listen to.
Right now we listen to Jingle Bells in the car with my 2.5-year-old, and it's March. So that's where we're at.
That's so fun, though. Thanks for sitting down with me today. I really appreciate it. And
You too, man.
I love this. I had so much fun, and I think that that our stories are connected until the end of time, regardless of whether we work together every day. So
100%.
Love that. I will see you all soon. Hopefully, if you're watching this in local, reach out, grab a coffee with me or Drew, or maybe even both of us together. We'd be up for that.
That'd be fun.
I think maybe we could bring Erin too, because she's quite connected to this little story between me and Drew also, aren't you, Erin?
She
Got
is.
some history.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Tacos, margaritas.
Yes.
All right. Bye. All right, that's a wrap on another week of chaos, closings, and questionable decisions.
If this episode made you laugh, think, or text your real estate bestie like, girl, this is us, do us a favor.
Hit that subscribe button, leave a quick review, follow us on socials, or send us your own unhinged real estate stories. Seriously, we want to share them.
And hey, don't just survive this week. Get out there and build your business.
You've got everything it takes.
We'll be back next week with more chaos and more clarity.
Until then,
Keep waking up to win.